How to automate a Windows VPN client using PowerShell. Let's start by creating our variables and assign them a string value that will contain the details of our VPN connection. Let's start by naming our variables something relevant that will be included in the rest of the code. You can name your VPN connection anything you'd like, this part is up to you. But you will need your VPN server address, and depending on your setup, you'll need the DNS suffix. This is sometimes needed for when you want to join the VPN of your organization, and you need to resolve IP addresses for resources within your domain. It can be a domain name like example.com or an IP address. Don't forget the secret key for L2TP with PSK connections. Here I hope your organization or workplace has designated a more secure PSK than simply secret. Now let's add our DNS. Remember, it can be a domain name or an IP address. Depending on how your VPN is set up, this field may or may not be needed when trying to reach network resources. We need to add the VPN module now so that PowerShell can understand our CMD lets. Usually in any coding language, best practices suggest that we should load our modules at the top of our code. But to keep it clear to beginners and give a better idea of what's to come, I chose to put it here. We're now going to add the functionality of our script. The following CMD lets are responsible for creating the VPN connection using the string values in our variables. Remember credential, ensures that credentials are remembered. Name sets the name of the VPN connection. Server address, specifies the server address for the VPN connection. Authentication method PAT, specifies the authentication method, password authentication protocol in this case. Tunnel type L2TP, specifies the tunnel type as L2TP. Encryption level optional, sets the encryption level as optional or automatic. L2TP PSK, sets the L2TP pre-shared key. DN suffix, specifies the DNS suffix for the VPN connection. Force, overrides any prompts or confirmations. As you can see, the commands are pretty self-explanatory now that you understand the variables you created earlier. In L2TP connections using a Windows VPN client, PAT needs to be enabled as an authentication option or the connection will hang. Although this may not always be the case. Now that the hard part is over, we're just going to display some messages to the user to let them know what's happening, and to provide confirmation. Right host is PowerShell's syntax that displays messages. You can also delay the messages and change the colors. You can see here that we can call upon our variables to show their values into our strings when using right host. The last command, let get VPN connection, displays useful information on the VPN we just created. Once this script is launched, the user will be prompted for their username and password. However, the following code is optional due to some application faults I have experienced in the past. Basically, when creating a VPN connection with Windows VPN client with an L2TP tunnel, the connection never completes when submitting the right credentials. But for some reason, when launching the Rashphone app, it kick-starts and saves the configurations properly. This is a rare issue and it may not be prominent in Windows 11 anymore. But I thought it was worth knowing and adding to the code to learn how to launch applications. To do so, we change directory to where the app is located and launch it by name. The app is found in System32 folders, so we're using the set location command let to traverse to that folder, similar to how change directory works. To clarify, Rashphone is sort of like a phone book manager for Windows and VPN connections. Once more, this part of the script is completely optional. Now we're going to make sure that after the script runs, it doesn't just close the window, because we want the user to have time to evaluate what is happening and to acknowledge our messages. We can do so by allowing the user to type enter to exit the script. We are also going to add a couple of messages letting the user know an app called Rashphone will launch. In addition, the VPN connection prompt will show up. This is not as confusing as it sounds. When the user sees the username and password fields, they can just log in and connect to VPN. However, this is also optional for them, since the connection is now added and they can connect through other means. They can even find the VPN connection as part of the Connections tab, usually shows a Wi-Fi or Ethernet connection at the bottom right of a Windows desktop. Let's try it out. Often, your organization may have some security policies that may block you from running PowerShell scripts, and you may be required to set execution policies as an admin. I find this tedious at times, so I like to just copy and paste the script onto a PowerShell window. This is useful to know, especially when helping another user. You don't want to keep messing with execution policies left and right. Here is the typical network connection prompt, and it is now showing the name of our VPN. A user can choose to log in or ignore it. It doesn't matter at this point. The VPN connection now exists. Let's check and confirm the VPN connection is part of our network connections. Great, and now we can take a look at the configurations, and as we can see, the script worked perfectly. Well, that's it. You now created a PowerShell script that automates the addition of a Windows VPN client. You can make this into an executable, or to make it easier to set up VPN. You can also use it with Intune. But, please be aware that your secret key is in clear text in the script, so it's not secure to store in workstations and you may want to obfuscate this code. Thank you for watching.